Okay, hello everyone. My name is Monsi, and today we're going to be talking about connecting to the Comp 311 class virtual machine and transferring files between that machine and your local computer for a Windows machine specifically. So every semester, the class will put out a document about how to use the class VM, and it has detailed instructions, but this video will just complement it. And if you're having trouble, hopefully seeing someone do all these steps will help you. So first of all, there's a big red warning or note that you need to be connected to the campus Wi-Fi, or you need to be logged in to the campus Wi-Fi via a VPN service. So I'm currently off campus because of COVID, so I'm going to connect to a VPN. So I have Cisco AnyConnect downloaded from a UNC software downloading service. I'm not sure here. We can Google Cisco AnyConnect UNC download. Yeah, shareware.sites.unc.edu. So this site is where you can peruse through, I think it'll be under C, and find Cisco AnyConnect and download it. There are separate instructions for that, so I hope you can follow along there. But once you have Cisco AnyConnect downloaded, go ahead and type in vpn.unc.edu, click connect. Your group, I just always use UNC Campus, but you can feel free to choose whichever one you like and works for you. Your username is just going to be your onion, and your password is going to be your onion's password. Second password is going to be how you like to authenticate yourself, like via two-step verification using Duo. So I always like to get a push notification. So I'm going to type in push, and it'll pop up on your phone, and just go ahead and accept. Awesome. And then you can accept on your computer as well. So that's what I just did. And now we are on the UNC Wi-Fi. So what we're going to go over is a couple of different softwares. The first one being PUTTY. So the class virtual machine document links PUTTY right here. And I've already clicked on it and opened it up in this other tab. So what you would do is download PUTTY using this link. I already have it downloaded, so I'm going to open it up. So what you're going to do for PUTTY is this is how you connect to the class virtual machine. You're going to go ahead and type in the host name, which will change every semester, but it'll be on this document. So for this semester, it's comp311-1s spring21.cs.unc.edu, and that'll probably change. And so make sure you check that rather than the one I'm using right now. So I already have that copied, and I'm going to paste it into host name or IP address. You leave the port at 22. You select SSH right here, and then what we can do is click open. But I'm going to do one step better and just go ahead and also paste that name into saved sessions. You can see it already highlights itself because I've already saved it. But if you haven't, this is a useful step and it'll save you some time, so you don't have to always repaste this class virtual machine's name. And so once you have it up here, you just click save and it will save it for you. So I already had it saved, but if you didn't, it would now pop up in your default. And then all you would have to do is click it and it will open. Or you can just click the open button. So then to log in, you're going to get prompted with this terminal window. You just type in your onion username and your onion's password. And when you type in your password, you won't get any black dots moving on the screen. That's normal. You just have to type very slowly and make sure you're correct. You just won't know. So apologize if it's a little hard to see the blue on black, but I'm currently PWD. You can see I'm in the home and in my directory, and we want to go into comp 311 lab ls. So we can see that earlier in the semester, I already transferred a file onto my onto this class virtual machine, which was for lab 1A. And so today we're going to talk about how to transfer files to the class virtual machine from the class virtual machine using hopefully 2 different methods. So you can choose which one works for you. So the first method is to use a software like WinSCP or FileZilla. FileZilla, I believe, also works on Mac, if that's what you're on. And so again, there will be links to all of these file transfer softwares on the document, but if not, you can always Google them because they're very widely used. So I just downloaded WinSCP, but if you click on this, what you would do is you would come down here and you'd click download WinSCP, this button, and just go through the installation process. And I just selected like the default settings for every section of that installation process. And if WinSCP is not what you want to use, you can use a very similar service called FileZilla. I would just download the FileZilla client, and I've used that for a really long time as well. But today we're going to go through this tutorial with WinSCP. So to transfer files between the host machine and the virtual machine in your local machine, you have to open up WinSCP and click Start a New Session. So as you can see, I've actually already saved all my information for Comp 311, which you can do as well. But if you haven't, I'm going to pretend I didn't already. So what you would select is SFTP for your file protocol. Type in the host name, which is Comp 311 - whatever semester's information, .cs.unc.edu, port number 22, just like PUTTY. Your username is your onion, and your password is your onion's password. And you click login. And you can notice I didn't actually type in my password on that initial screen because you go ahead and you type it in at a later step. You're first going to get like an authentication banner from the UNC Computer Science Department. And I'm just going to continue. You can also click never show this banner again if you're planning on using this over and over again. So now I type in my onion password. Okay. And there we go, we're connected. So on the left-hand side, you can see my local machine. So I'm not sure which okay, so I'm in the wrong directory basically to transfer documents from, but we can go ahead and just move to a better directory. So I'm going to move to my computer organization directory for 311, and I'm going to say I want to transfer all of my lab 2 documents to the class virtual machine. So as per the directions, I'm going to go in. So the right hand side is the class virtual machine. So if that wasn't clear, so this is my home directory. I hope you can see my cursor. It's on home. Then you click MonCSoc, which is my onion, and then you can go into this Comp 311 lab folder, which might be different each semester. So you can just adjust this depending on what folders are and are not there. And you have permission to edit this folder and anything within your like onions directory. So you can make a folder wherever you want. But I want to transfer lab 2. So this is very simple. So lab 2 is on my current machine and I want to put it on the virtual machine. So I just grab it and I drag it to the other side, and then it prompts me, do you want to upload file lab 2? It's actually a folder, but they're calling it file, just remote directory, and I say okay. And you might get a little prompt on your computer screen saying the transfer is done. Okay, actually that was a separate notification, but lab 2 is basically on my virtual machine, and I have the exact same copy on my local machine. So let's go ahead and check. So I'm going to go back to that PUTTY terminal, and if you remember, previously only had lab 1A, but I'm going to do ls, and now we have lab 2 as well. So we can go to cd lab 2 ls, and you can see all of my digital files are now here, and we can run whatever autograder command that we have specified for the current semester, which will be in the lab document. Now, let's say we want to transfer, let's say we edited a file on the class virtual machine. A lot of people get confused because if you edit a file on the virtual machine, it does not mean that is the same file that's on your computer. You have to now recopy that file back onto your computer. So for demonstration's sake, I'm going to make a fake file. So vi fake.txt. this is not a real file, period. And yes, now we have that fake file, and we're going to show you how to transfer it back to your computer. So I'm going to go back over to my WinSCP, and you're going to have to reconnect. So yes, so you just click new session, and this time it should be saved. So I went ahead and just clicked on a saved session, typed in my onion password, okay. And yes, now that we've reconnected to the class virtual machine, you can see that lab 2 is now updated, and we can see this fake txt. So now I want to make sure like this is the only file I touched. So we have to transfer that back if I want to work on it on my local machine. I'm just going to drag and drop to the left-hand side, which is my local machine, and you can see it's done. So let's actually check on my local machine via like this methodology. So I'm going to go ahead to my computer organization folder for spring 2021, lab 2, and there we go. That's the fake file we created on the virtual machine and is now on our local machine. So remember, you can do this using FileZilla or WinSCP. Both interfaces look pretty identical to each other and are pretty intuitive to use. You can just drag and drop. If you want one more option, you can use this was what was recommended for Macs, but I believe it also works on Windows. So I'm going to open up Windows PowerShell. If you don't have it, you can just download it. And so go ahead and navigate into the directory. So this is also to transfer a file. So navigate into the directory that you want to transfer a file from. So I'm going to go to my programming, computer organization directory. I'm going to go back to lab 2. And let's say I want to move yet another fake file. So I'm going to make like pi fake2.txt. Oh, I don't have. Okay, well, actually what we're going to do is I don't have certain tools downloaded on my PowerShell, like on my computer, but that's okay because I'm just going to go ahead and remove fake.txt from up here. So yes, now it's gone. So I just removed fake.txt from the class virtual machine. So we're going to just retransfer this old fake.txt back onto the class virtual machine. So you can use the command SCP, and I'm going to copy this directly from this document. It's under the Mac thing, but you can use it on Windows too. So file SCP, so I'm going to do fake.txt once you're in your directory. So that's file on my laptop, space, my onion, Monty, sock, at, and the name, the name of the class virtual machine. So in this case, it's comp311-1sp21.cs.unc.edu, colon, comp311 lab. So that comp311 lab is just the directory you want it to copy the fake file into. So in my case, yeah, why don't we just do that? We're going to transfer it straight into comp311 lab, not my lab 2 directory. So click enter. And so then you're going to get a prompt. Are you sure you want to continue connecting? I'm going to type yes. And so again, you get the same banner from the computer science department talking about unauthorized access is prohibited. So now you've already given them your username in the SCP command, so they know your onion. So you now need to type in your onion's password. Again, they won't show you the password on the screen. And then you'll get a confirmation message that fake.txt was transferred 100%. And so let's go ahead and check. So just to remind you guys, I deleted fake.txt from my lab 2. However, I actually only transferred fake.txt into my comp 311 lab directory, so not my lab 2 directory. So I'm actually going to have to move up a directory. So cd ... ls, and there we go. We're back in. So if you do pwd, you can see which directory you're in, and you can. I am currently in my comp 311 lab directory, and originally we didn't have this fake.txt file here, but now we do. And similarly, if we wanted to move fake.txt from my virtual machine to my local machine, we can use the exact same command, but in reverse. So I'm actually going to go ahead and delete fake.txt from my local machine. So I just deleted it, so it doesn't exist in lab 2 anymore, and we're going to transfer fake.txt back into my lab 2 folder using this SCP command. So I'm just going to type SCP file from server. So I'm going to type monc at com311-1sp21.cs.unc.edu. I'm just using the command to copy file from server to laptop. Oh, sorry, and you don't actually do this on the class virtual machine. You just do this on your local machine. You could do it on your class on your virtual machine if you knew the name of your host machine, like if you had the IP address. But we're just going to do it on my local machine. So I'm back in PowerShell, and I'm going to pull that fake.txt file back in. So first, let's do ls. So verify. There is no fake.txt file in this directory. So I'm going to type in scp monc at com311-1sp.cs.unc.edu. comp311 lab. So comp311 lab is the folder that I know fake.txt is stored in, which is why I'm typing that. If that's not the case for you, you would just type in the folder or folders that you want to pull a file from, slash, and then the name of the file I want. So fake.txt. Enter. Oh, and I forgot, you got to give it the directory that you want it to copy it into. So in my case, that would be the dot, meaning my current directory. But if you want it in a different directory, you can totally change the file path. And then again, you get that banner, type in your onion password. Take a minute, and it's 100% done. So now fake.txt should be on my local machine in my lab 2 directory, which is the case. So to recap, we learned that we need to connect to the class virtual machine, or sorry, the UNC Wi-Fi via VPN or just being on campus. And we need to use something like PUTTY to log into the class virtual machine and move around and run the autograder. And the autograder commands will change each semester. Then to transfer files, you need to use a software called FileZilla or WinSCP to do that if you want a GUI, or we can use the command SCP from the command line on your local machine using commands I just showed you and the updated names of the class virtual machine and the folders and directories that you're working inside, which will change each semester. If you have any questions, feel free to come to office hours and ask any of the instructors or LAs or TAs. Have a good day.